Hi guys, it's me again. Your favorite, right? Miss Beverly. So this was the exit question that you got on Wednesday. And it just looked like people needed some more help with it. So that's what this video is going to be on, and that's what you're going to take notes on. And then I'm going to give you one problem to try, okay, after this one to see how you're doing and where you're at when you come in on Friday. Okay? All right, so square root of 7. And first thing, you're going to need to try and figure out what perfect squares is this in between. So I'm going to start listing perfect squares. Perfect squares. Okay, and I'm doing this kind of slowly because it just seems like people need a little bit more help. So the first perfect square, I'd start with 1. 1 times 1 is 1. So that's the first perfect square. I'm going to go out from there. 2 times 2, 4. 3 times 3, 9. 4 times 4, 16. I can actually stop because I can see that 7 lies somewhere between the perfect squares of 4 and 9. So I'm going to put that up here. That is between the square root of 4 and the square root of 9. Okay? So once I get to that point, then I can see what whole number I'm going to use in my decimal. So the square root of 7 is in between these. The square root of 4 is 2, because 2 times 2 is 4. And the square root of 9 is 3. So the square root of 7 is sandwiched between 2 and 3. So if it is less than 3, I know that my decimal is going to be 2 point something. So now is where I look back at my thing I wrote first, and I say, how far is it from 4 to 9? What's that span? What's that length? Well, that's 5. That has a length of 5. So I'm going to make a fraction out of this. And then, how far is it from 4 to 7? It's 3. Okay? So I'm going to be able to use this fraction to approximate my tenths place here, to know where to start instead of just guessing right away. So if I take 3 divided by 5, I am going to get, 5 goes into 30, 6 times perfectly actually. So I'm going to start with 2.6. Okay? So I'm going to erase this stuff. So far I have 2.6, but I told you I wanted it to the nearest hundredth. So right now, my hundredth spot, if there's nothing there, what number is it? Maybe you said it, or are you brain dead right now? It is 0 right now, right? So let's just see how close we are if we use 2.60. So if I multiply 2.60 times 2.60, that's really the same thing as just 2.6 times 2.6. So let's multiply that out. 2.6 times 2.6. So go ahead and try to multiply that. All right, so I ended up getting 6.76. And I'm trying to see how close I can get to 7. So I would say I can get closer than that. So the question here is, if I just did 2.60 times 2.60 and got 6.76, how far should I go up or down? Well, since I need to go up to get to 7 from 6.76, I'm going to make this number, 2.60, go up. So now it's up to you how far up you want to go. I'm going to increase it all the way to 2.65. I'm just going to see what I get there. So I'm going to take 2.65 times 2.65. So again, if you're multiplying this with me right now, which you should be, then pause the video because I'm going to start in. All right, so sorry if I scared you and I wasn't talking, but maybe that was nice. You're like, finally, Miss Everly's not talking. So anyway, I ended up with 7.0225, which is so much closer than my last one. Now I'm only 2 cents away from $7. I don't think I could get closer than that. But you know what? I'm gonna make sure. So I'm gonna multiply. Would you go up or down with 2.65 in order to get closer to 7? So 7.0225 is a little tiny bit too much. So meaning I'm going to take 2.65 and make that 5 a 4. Okay? Just to be sure. So I'm going to take 2.64 times 2.64 and see if I happen to get closer. If not, then I've just proved to myself that 2.65 is the closest I'm going to get. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to, and again, I'm going to stop talking. And I'm going to multiply. All right. Okay, it's getting exciting here. I am excited. So I can see that I got lower than 7. But if I were thinking in money, this is approximately $6.97. I rounded that 6 up since that was a 9. So I'm actually 3 cents away from $7 here. Whereas in this one, I was only 2 cents away. Wow, it's close. So with all this work that I don't want you to erase, but I have to, I'm going to say that the square root of 7 is going to be 2.65. Yep, and that's it. That is rounded to the nearest hundredth, and that makes me happy. Okay, so there you are. But you know what? That's just one problem. Here's the problem that I want you to try for me for Friday. You are trying this to the best of your ability, giving it as much as you can, and it'll probably take you about 10 minutes. All right, I'll give you a smaller number, and that number will be the square root of 13. Okay? So again, I want this rounded to the nearest hundredth. All right? So remember to start out. I'll give you those first couple steps. Go back to those perfect squares. What 2 perfect squares is this going to be sandwiched in between? Do you have it? Did you write it out? Do you think you know it? Because I'm going to say it. Okay, it's going to be the square root of 9. And the square root of 16. Second step, what is this whole number going to be then? If we know it is less than the square root of 16, and the square root of 16 is 4, what does that mean this number is? If you're saying it out loud, thanks. I can hear you. It is 3. And now, next step is to do that span. If you're like, Miss Everly, stop talking, I can do this by myself. Then pause the video and try it by yourself. But the span from 9 to 16, if I add what to 9 to get to 16? Are you saying 7? Because that's what I'm thinking. 7. And then how far to get from 9 to 13? 4. Okay, so this is the fraction that I'm going to use to approximate the tenths place. Okay, so 4/7, I'm going to divide 4 divided by 7. Again, if you're like, Miss Everly, stop talking, I got this, then stop the video. Okay, so I'm attaching the decimal. 7 goes into 40, so 5 times. And I'm not going to stop there because I want to get one more spot to see if I'm going to round that 5 up. 7 goes into 50, 7 times because it's 49. So I'm going to stop there because I can now round this to 0.6. So if I go back here, I'm going to put a 6 here. So if I round to the 100th spot, if I use a 6 and there's nothing there, what number is going to go there? 0. Okay? So first, I'm going to try and do 3.60 times 3.60 and see how close I get to that 13. And that's where you then step it up and you say, okay, 3.60 was not close enough. Am I going to go to 3.61? Am I going to go to 3.59? Am I going to go to all the way to 3.65? Okay, so that's up to you. So you try and figure that out for Friday, and I will see you then when we have our retest. Thanks, people.